Hello everyone, a very warm welcome to you all in your English online classes for class 8th. Today we are going to start the new topic, new chapter from your 8th class literature reader, that is the tsunami. Tsunami word, I think you all are familiar because in geography section you might have studied about it. What is tsunami? The very first you can find here, the spelling is given Tsunami. So the many students raise this question, why the word is called tsunami, not tsunami. So actually this word is a Japanese word, and according to English linguistics, some of the letters sometimes are omitted in the words to make its pronunciation very clear and easier. Like you can see in psychology, P is silent, in listen T is silent, in often T is silent. Like this, many of the words are there where some of the letters are silent to pronounce it in a better way. So here we have to pronounce this word tsunami. What is tsunami? Tsunami is actually a series of waves occurred in the water bodies like big lakes or oceans or seas. That is because of the displacement of water on a huge level. In a big volume of water get displaced in the we can say the bed of the sea, and that's why this current or the series of the high waves comes that occur and can be destructive. So here this chapter we can say it's an informative chapter that make us know or that inform us about the experiences of people in the hard time of tsunami that took place in the coastal areas of India. What a massive destruction was brought by this tsunami. At the same time, many of the people, those who survived there, about their life story we come to know. So I would request you all students to pay your 100% attention to the explanation part of the chapter, so that you can connect yourself with the stories. You can feel the pain and the sufferings of the people, and the real intention of adding this chapter in your syllabus to make the person sensitive about the happenings, such mishappenings in the society, and at the same time to know the nature's power when it gets destructive, about some of the people, those who struggled in that hard time and defeat the fate and won the life. So let's see what is given in the chapter. In the beginning we'll see, first we'll discuss word meanings, so that when we'll go through the explanation part you will have no problem about the meanings and feeling or the concept of the chapter here. The first word is given archipelago. This word stands for, it's in the western part of the India, so they are called archipelago. These islands are archipelago, series of islands surrounded with the water. Then tremor means a slight shake. During earthquake, the surface of the earth gets vibrate and experiences the shaking there, shivering there, that is called a tremor. Then we have here earth tremors, means the earth shakes during an earthquake, the same word. Tremor means the shaking, and earth tremor means the earth is shaking, feeling vibrations during the earthquake. Then chaos means complete disorder or confusion. So you have to pronounce it chaos. Chaos when something unusual happens and there is a crowd and rush and shouting and screaming you can consider it chaos. Then actually chaos word is used in the chapter to describe the scene at the place where these tsunamis hit. What was the condition there, how was the people's behavior, and everything is that panic condition, panic situation is expressed with this word. Relief helicopters are the helicopters bringing help to people during the floods, like you might have seen in the movie Kedarnath. At the last, some helicopters come, the relief helicopters come to escape the people from that problem. So relief helicopters are used to save the people in the time of these destructions in the natural calamities. Then recede means move back from where it was. When suppose this is the sea and this is the beach, this is the beach and here we have a sea. So when the sea comes here and it goes in the backward direction, we can say the sea water found receding. So recedes means to move backward from where it was. Then traumatized means greatly shocked and distressed. You can easily understand the people, those who actually experienced this disaster, this tsunami, the destruction in front of them, when they lost their family members in front of their eyes. They were in a trauma, they were in shock. It was difficult for them to believe what they have experienced, and the condition of such people or these people is called traumatized. The people get traumatized in that condition. Resort, a place where people go on holidays. We know they book the big hotels and 5-star hotels, 3-star hotels, or simple hotels even, to stay for some time so that they can enjoy their holidays on that place. And triggered means caused. Here it describes a sudden violent reaction. An undersea earthquake caused the tsunami. So triggered as if it is pushed to that. The cause that is helping it to occur, happen. So this word is used to show the tsunami. Triggered means suddenly that waves of, the series of the waves, the tides, high tides and all started experience means we can see on the surface of the water. Then hysterical means when you are hysterical, you shout, laugh or cry in a wild, excited way without any control over yourself. When a person is extraordinary joyful or too much panic or grief striken, the person starts shouting, screaming, yelling without any control, as if the person gone mad. No one understands what is happening actually with the person. So that condition you can say hysterical. The person gets hysterical, means start behaving like a mad person, shouting, screaming, yelling and all these things. Then we have refuse, means to take a shelter or protection from danger. When someone is not the localite of the place and they take the shelter in others area, we can say it is called refuse. You might have heard this word in the contest when the people from like Taliban, they were coming to the different part of the countries to protect themselves and to save themselves, or this way. So refugee is the word you may have heard earlier. So refuse means to take shelter, to protect someone from the danger. Then withstood means endured without collapsing, to withstand against the condition, to be strong enough to face the problem and come out of that problem, instead of giving up, instead of collapsing, instead of getting nervous and that. Then surge means force or momentum. Okay, so these are the words we discussed. Let's see if we have more words. Now no words, we have some pictures. Here I would like to share some pictures with you that will give you an idea about the conditions of tsunami. You might have heard, you might have seen the such shots in the movie, or might be news or some of the informative channels like Discovery or like that. So here I have some of the pictures to share with you to see how destructive or massive destructions can be brought by the tsunami and such type of tidal we can say calamities. So here you can see the people are rushing here and there. Suddenly the water entered in the locality, breaking its usual boundaries. You can see the height of the tides going up. It's not a coastal area where people can go and sit and just along with the sea. This is a little far away area from the sea where the water is letting inside the colonies. Then next you can see one more picture. Here you can see the whole water entered in this colony. All the houses get submerged, the trees fell down and all there, and see the sea entered in the localite area, crossing its boundaries, the water extended ahead. This picture also the same, you can see how these waves are forming here on the foaming the, you will get this description of the sea before the tsunami occurs, that the water starts receding, going backward, or then covering more area than the usual, taking that beach area covered with the water. You can see how the water is changing its form here. And this one more, the same picture is there, little closer view we can have here. See, you can easily see the picture, and the waves, high tides are coming ahead. So these pictures I hope will give you idea about that rough form of the sea when it is furious and ready to destruct everything. So these are the pictures we have seen. Now let's discuss something else. Here, now see people, as soon as they saw the water, surface water of the sea is foaming and rushing in unusual that speed we can say of flow, the people started rushing towards the beach, towards that ground along with the sea. So here you can find the people rushing here. Then now this one picture is shared with you through your textbook. You can see the map on which you can see the islands Andaman Nicobar, and some information is shared about the places that are described in the chapter like Katchal, Naveri and all. So what are they actually? Well, let's see. Before you read, you should know the name of these places and reference of these places, so that you will understand the chapter very well. It is given Andaman and Nicobar Islands. We are talking about Andaman Nicobar Island, that is on the western part of the India. If you remember the map of India like this. So here this part, the Andaman Nicobar Islands are there. So it is on the western part. Okay. Now Katchal is an island. So obviously we are talking about the islands, small group of islands here, surrounded with water from all the sides. So you can see Katchal is one of the place discussed in the story. That is actually, it is an island, and it is given that it is part of the Andaman group of island. It's a printing mistake actually you have here. Katchal is in the Nicobar Island. You can see here it's a Nicobar Island, not in Andaman Island. So there is a printing mistake, you should note down in your book. So Katchal is in Nicobar Island, one of the island in that group. Nankauri is an island in the Nicobar group. Again, just after Katchal you can see Nankauri here. It is also in Nicobar Island groups. And we come to know here that it is 100 miles apart from the scale. Okay, so Katchal and Nankauri, the distance between these two places is more than 100 miles. Miles, you know, 1 mile equal to 1.60 something kilometer it is. So we will consider suppose 1.5 kilometer roughly. So 1 mile equals to 1.5 kilometers. So hundreds of kilometer it is far from Katchal. So Nankauri and Katchal are different islands, and the distance between them is hundreds of kilometers. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are to the west of India, that we have already seen here. In the western part of India we can find this group of islands. The Nicobar Islands are to the north of the Andaman Island. So downward if you will see, first you have here Andaman, and then upward Nicobar in the northern part of the sea, we can say upward side Nicobar is there. So this is what the geographical structure is described in the chapter, so that the areas about whom we are going to read, the region in which this tsunami struck, will have an idea that which part of our continent or our country we are talking about. So here I hope this description of these two islands, the group of island, is very clear to you. Now let's see what is next in the chapter we are to discuss here. Now here we have a picture given in the book. At the same time we have now chapter to start. In the beginning, actually we have some information. These are the opening lines of the chapter. And what do these lines say? So we come to know that a tsunami is a very large and powerful wave caused by earthquakes under the sea. So you may have seen or heard about the earthquakes that take place in the core of the earth, and that's why the ground starts shaking and the buildings fall and all. So we are talking about the earthquake under the sea. When the earthquakes triggered under the sea, the water surface has a displacement on a huge volume, and that cause the heavy tides that are destructive. So tsunami is a large earthquake triggered inside the sea, we can say. On 26th December 2004, a tsunami hit Thailand and part of the Andaman and Nicobar Islands. So not only India but out of India, in Asia, Thailand, it is caused. So in 2004, means 17 years before, you might be not even born that time. So this massive tsunami was experienced in the western island part of India and Thailand, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, and the Tamil Nadu coast. So the Tamil Nadu coastal area of India, and again Andaman Nicobar on the western side. These are the parts affected from India and Thailand. Here are some stories of courage and survival. Courage, the bravery, the people shown to save others' life. At the same time, survival, who were trapped in the tsunami but they were fortunate enough to find themselves alive, though after a huge emotional and economical loss. Did animals sense that a tsunami was coming? Some stories suggest that they did. So not about only the human beings but also about the animals, their behavior during such natural disasters. And whatever the studies tell us, that often it is experienced that human life loss is more than life of animals in comparison. So why do it happen that animals are recorded less died in such type of tsunami or such type of disasters? That also we will discuss here in the chapter. So you have three sections in the story. First story is about the courage, the people who suffered there. Some of the stories from that, some of the experiences of the people are shared here. Second section tells us about the survival, the people, those who are able to save themselves after a long struggle. And last part tell us about the concept of animals and their behavior, changed behavior during such type of calamities. So before we start the actual chapter, let's see, we can see this picture. Even the heavy vehicles like car and trucks and all, they are all submerged in the water. They were carried by the water as if the small toys. So you can know the fire and water is always considered a good friend but a bad foe. So if they are supporting, if they are calm, fire and water are surely going to help a lot. But if they get angry, it is sure that we are going to suffer a big loss there. So you can find that rough form of water, how it carries everything with it when it brings the calamities like tsunami or flood. Now here we have discussed the theme of the chapter. We have also discussed the topics that we are going to deal with within the chapter. Now we are going to start the actual stories from the text, from the chapter. So if you have any doubt, as you know, you have to ask me so that we can clear it with along with you. Might possible it will clear the others' doubt also, and that will be helpful for everyone. So let's start the first experience, first section from the story, that is about the courage. So here we have few of the stories. Very first story we will see here. These stories are all from the Andaman and Nicobar archipelago. So we have discussed what is archipelago. This is a group of islands. So the stories which are discussed here are from the Andaman Nicobar island groups. So what is given here? First we are talking about a person whose name was Ignatius, and he was the manager of a cooperative society in Katshal. So we are talking about Katshal, that is in Nicobar island, island in Nicobar island series we have seen in that group, which is 100 kilometers away from the Nancowry. So there was a man whose name was Ignatius. He was working in as a manager in that cooperative society. He was having his job and family and everything was going very nicely. His wife woke him up at 6 a.m. because she felt an earthquake. So on the date of 26 December 2004, early in the morning, 6 o'clock, it happened that suddenly the wife of Ignatius felt something unusual. She felt the vibration on the ground, and it was too clear to her that it was no doubt earthquake. As soon as she realized the danger, she suddenly woke her husband up. She asked him to get up and she made him clear what was happening there. Then Ignatius carefully took his television set off its table and put it down on the ground so that it would not fall and break. So it was actually, Ignatius thought that it might be a minor earthquake they were going to experience, and so he had a first thought of saving some precious things from his house. So he thought if it's a simple tremor and not going to be very destructive, they would run from the house and they would save their life. But the valuable things like TV and all, how would he save them? He would protect them from the economical loss. So very first he took that TV from the table and kept it on the floor, so that in the vibration and shaking of that, it will not fall down on the ground and it will be saved. After that, then the family rushed out of the house. They ran towards the that out of house. So you may know, you might have studied earlier in the geography section, when the earthquakes or the people living in earthquake prone areas where the earthquakes are often experienced, some of the guidelines are given to them so that they would be able to save themselves, or less loss to property and life can be experienced. So what precautions are there? Normally the people are suggested to rush out of the house on a open ground if they feel or they experience earthquake. If they are trapped on any of the floor which was not possible, where it was not possible for them to rush out of the building in an open place, so it is better that they should go and stand in the corner where the two walls are joined, so that if something happens or the wall falls down, it would at least not fall directly on them. Either they can hide themselves under the table or bench like that. So such type of some of the precautions or preventive measures are directed to the people living in the earthquake area, earthquake prone areas. So the family knew that one very well. So Ignatius and his family members ran out of house. When the tremor stopped, they saw the sea rising. So tremor, we have already discussed that the vibrations on the earth's surface because of the earthquake. So the family was experiencing those vibrations on the surface of the earth, on the ground, and then they came out. Obviously it's an island, so the houses are having the coastal areas from all over, obviously it was. So when they came out of the house and they found the shaking of the earth stopped, suddenly they saw the sea rising. The water surface of the sea was rising higher than usual. Unusual height was experienced of that waves by this family. In the chaos and confusion, in that hodgepodge, hustle bustle, in that panic situation when the people were not knowing what to do, rushing here and there and shouting and screaming, that time they didn't know what to do and they were all confused. Because the people, those who scared, those who here and there in confusion, because in house if they will go, already there was an earthquake, they experienced the shaking there, so they were not knowing what to do, they had no time to plan their actions. So in that confusion and chaos, two of his children caught hold of the hands of their mother's father and mother's brother. So mother's father, we can see it's a maternal grandfather and maternal uncle, so Nanaji and Mamaji we can call it. So the children of two of the children of Ignatius, they were scared, all the family members were running, and obviously they were small children, they didn't know what to do. So in that confusion, the children hold the hands of their uncle and grandfather and rushed in the opposite direction. Instead of rushing towards the safer place, instead of running towards the house or somewhere else, they ran towards the sea. They rushed in the direction of the sea, where already the the waves of the sea water were higher, that the unusually high. He never saw them again, and unfortunately, four of them, the two children and grandfather and uncle, they were drawn by the water, we can say. They were trapped in sea water, and later on Ignatius didn't find his children and his family members back. His wife was also swept away. See, you can imagine that emotional loss Ignatius had. His children he lost, his two of the in-laws he lost, and even his wife was swept away with the water. She was also drawn in the sea water. She was also died. Only the three other children who came with him were saved. Only three of the children of the family who stick with the Ignatius and they were able to run in the safer direction were left alive from that family. Remaining all these five family members died. So it was a huge emotional loss Ignatius experienced in that tsunami. So here the first story we have discussed. I hope you are trying to understand the feeling of the sufferer, the person who was trapped there, the person who lost his family members and was able to live or able to be saved himself, to save himself, having lots of that sufferings and emotional that loss. So let's see, you have any query or not. In this you have to tell very clearly, because this part is actually needs to attend the explanation with getting little thinking with your heart also, not only by mind. You have to think, you have to try to understand the feelings of the people. You will realize that how the life of the people, what their experience could be, what could be their mental condition at that time, whether they were unable to take any decision in haste, they were grief stricken, they were panic, they were losing their beloved ones in front of their eyes. So here we have completed the first story from the chapter. Here we will take a pause from the class, and then tomorrow we will continue our class with the more stories from the chapter. So whatever discussion we had regarding, or we have today regarding this topic, this story and the theme of the story, you go through it very well and thoroughly make your own summary and note down the details of the chapter, and you will find yourself ready for the learning work. So keep studying, keep enjoying the classes, and keep discussing your doubts to make yourself confident in the subject. Thank you. Have a nice day.